Yuval Noah Harari has brought us another epic, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, Human God. And I gotta tell you, I just read it, and I just got the book. I'm still reeling and trying to process this illuminating, and more times than not, deeply disturbing book. It gets you thinking. But it's, cool, sci-fi, dystopian, disturbing. It's Elon Musk living in a simulation, disturbing. The book is pretty huge in its breadth and scope, just like Sapiens if you read that, and so we're not going to really be able to touch the tip of the iceberg. It's too massive, but what we can run over are some cool concepts in the book, so you have a beginning of what's to come if you choose, hopefully, to go down this road. Number 1, masters of our environment. Humanity is morphing into a species that has more power and control than ever before. And our 3 biggest enemies are famine, pandemics, and war. But they're dwindling at a rate where you can say major progress has been made. I mean, if there's famine, then it's because there's some politician somewhere that wants him to starve. People aren't starving like they used to. China's free from famine, we have food. But now, like in America, there's too much of it. If you're gonna die, it's from sugar, going to McDonald's too much, getting diabetes. And the other big enemy would be pandemics. Sure, we get here and there by a stray Ebola, but we're not dealing with the infectious diseases that killed the Native Americans. 90% of Native Americans died as a result. There have been pandemics that have killed 100 million people in less than a year, so we're doing pretty good from where we were. There's no smallpox and that sort of thing, and people are dying in the majority from non-infection illnesses, cancer, and heart disease. Violence caused 15% of deaths in ancient agricultural societies, whereas now in the 20th century, violence only caused 5% of deaths. Again, sugar is more dangerous than gunpowder and Al-Qaeda, and yet terrorists take the center stage. Harari says that terrorists are like the fly that tries to destroy a china shop, but they're so weak, they can't even knock over a teacup, so they get inside the air of a bowl, and the bowl destroys a china shop. This is what happened in the Middle East in the last decade, so it kind of all depends on our reactions. Number 2, immortality, happiness, and divinity. So since we've come so far, what will we do with ourselves? What are we gonna do now that we've gotten past famine, pandemics, and war? Are we gonna write poetry all day? I mean, we're ambitious. Why stop here? Immortality, happiness, and divinity are likely to be humanity's next targets. So hence the title of the book, it's now time to upgrade humans into gods and turn Homo sapiens into Homo Deus. That's nominative or vocative plural for you Latin fans. I believe that, the declension. Point being, death is an enemy. It's no longer to be revered as a sacred metaphysical experience exploding with meaning, although Google knows this, and in fact, they created a company called Calico, whose stated mission is to solve death. The director is Ray Kurzweil. These guys maintain that anyone possessing a healthy body and healthy bank in 2050 will have a serious shot at immortality by cheating death a decade at a time. You might have to be Peter Thiel to make this happen, and apparently he's all over this. Or maybe it's gonna be the person sitting next to you in the coffee shop, if that coffee shop is on Wall Street. These superhumans have no expiration, but they can get blown up by a bomb. Us mortals take chances skiing, but if you're gonna live forever, there's no skiing. If I was gonna live forever, I wouldn't even want to cross the street or eat in that one restaurant, 4B's or Denny's. I would never eat there if I was immortal, and I'm not gonna be settling down until I'm at least like 80 years old if I'm immortal. Number 3, algorithms. Algorithm is arguably the single most important concept in our world. If we want to understand our life and our future, Harari says, we should make every effort to understand what an algorithm is and how algorithms are connected with emotions. So what is an algorithm? It's a methodical set of steps that can be used to make calculations, resolve problems, and reach decisions. And an algorithm isn't a particular calculation, but the method followed when making the calculation, like a recipe. Number 1, heat half a cup of oil in a pot. Number 2, finely chop 4 onions. Number 3, fry the onion until golden, and so forth. Over the last few decades, biologists have reached the firm conclusion that the man pressing the buttons and drinking the tea is also an algorithm. A much more complicated algorithm than the vending machine. We are, no doubt, but we're still an algorithm. Humans are algorithms that produce not cups of tea or onions, but copies of themselves. And the algorithms controlling humans work through sensations, emotions, and thoughts. And exactly the same kind of algorithms control pigs, baboons, otters, and chickens. Unfortunately, the Bible doesn't recognize this fact because according to it, humans have souls and animals do not. So, thou shalt not kill only applies to humans and not mammals, even though mammals means mama, because of the bonding that occurs from an infant suckling his mother. I mean, think how close you have to be to, I'm gonna allow you to suckle on my titty. The agricultural revolution was thus both an economic and a religious revolution, and new kinds of economic relations emerged together with new kinds of religious beliefs that justified the brutal exploitation of animals that we see today, whereas hunter-gatherers didn't have such a predilection towards being superior beings because their survival depended on the understanding and respecting the desires of these animals. Foragers constantly asked themselves what deer dream about, for example, what lions think. Otherwise, they could not hunt the deer nor escape the lions. And this farming mentality was a first step toward treating other ethnic groups or religious communities as others. Wild beasts ripe for extermination and a great God above that gives his blessing to the entire arrangement. Notice how theists worship gods and humanists worship humans. Thus, where theism justified traditional agriculture in the name of God, humanism has justified modern industrial farming in the name of man. Industrial farming has no real interest in animals, which don't share the sanctity of human nature. But in these latest years, we humans are suddenly showing this interest, unprecedented interest in the fate of so-called lower life forms, perhaps because we're about to become one. When these computer programs attain superhuman intelligence and unprecedented power, should we begin valuing these programs more than we value humans? We're gonna be dumb next to them, next to these computers, as dumb as we see these pigs. Even dumber with this said, will it be okay for artificial intelligence to exploit humans and even kill them to further its own needs and agenda? If the artificial intelligence shouldn't be allowed to do that, to exploit humans, why is it ethical for humans to exploit and kill pigs? The author argues, do humans have some magical spark, in addition to higher intelligence and greater power, which distinguishes them from pigs and other animals, and computer programs? And what is that spark, and why are we so sure AI can't acquire it? Does might make right? Science has yet to find a soul in humans or pigs or animals, and unfortunately the theory of evolution rejects the idea that my true self is some indivisible, immutable, and potentially eternal essence. According to the theory of evolution, all biological entities from elephants and oak trees to cells and DNA molecules are composed of smaller and simpler parts that ceaselessly combine and separate. Natural selection can compose a human eye because an eye has parts, but the soul has no parts. If the Homo sapiens soul evolved step by step from the Homo erectus soul, as an example, what exactly were these steps? Is there some part of the soul that is more developed in sapiens than in erectus? But the soul has no parts. The closest thing we have to a human essence is our DNA, and the DNA molecule is a vehicle of mutation rather than the seat of eternity. But what about feelings, you may be asking? The most up-to-date theories maintain that sensations and emotions are biochemical data processing algorithms. So perhaps behind all the sensations and emotions that we ascribe to animals, and ourselves quite frankly, hunger, fear, love, and loyalty lurk only unconscious algorithms rather than subjective experiences. Many people argue that animals have no consciousness or that they're inferior and have a different consciousness, but even today, we really have no idea what consciousness is. It's like when musical notes come together in time and rhythm. We call that a song. Or when particles of clouds come together, we call that a cloud. But no consciousness emerges to announce, I'm a cloud, or I'm a song. How is it then that when billions of electric signals move around in my brain, a mind emerges that feels, I am furious, or I'm happy? As of 2017, we have no idea. It may be a kind of mental pollution produced by the firing of complex neural networks. It doesn't do anything, it's just there. The author says that this is a thought worth thinking, even if it isn't true. So, you just might be garbage. See what I'm saying? This book is kind of dystopian, but what if? I have a hard time believing I am an algorithm, that all my feelings and thoughts and romances that I've had, the adventures are just an algorithm. But maybe it's not so bad. What if we can take this matter and create it and put it into a computer and make the computer be like us? Is that so bad that we can create consciousness? Do we have to be so special, in other words? I think we need to continue on this Homo Deus because we didn't even touch my favorite parts. The last chapter of this book is mind-blowing. So I'll see you for part 2 shortly. Thank you so much for joining me today, and feel free to share this video with any of your friends. This book is so interesting. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and thumbs up button if you haven't already. Meanwhile, have a fantastic week. I'll see you next Friday. It was great, as always.